For me, as you were sharing just then, was I wonder if there's kind of music playing throughout our lives all the time, and there's something around the attunement to be able to presence in and listen to that music, and then through the creation, it's almost like that is almost like a translation of what's already going on, but with some sense of potency or like a focused beam of energy, and something that that kind of remains as an imprint to be shared or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this particular album was that experience. It was me touching and tapping into something that was already existing, and I was just trying to bring back a metaphoric representation, you know. So most of these tracks came from, you know, dreams or a ceremony, but you know, from a space of expanded awareness and presence, much like now. And with the mind being still, I was able to connect to other dimensions of, you know, sound and vibration and feeling. And so it's funny because with this album, like I don't really feel like I wrote it, you know, just like I was lucky enough to get to witness and experience it. And then this album is a very clumsy attempt, you know, or it's a metaphor, you know, to try and capture and retranslate, you know, like these things that pre-exist for sure, and whether they're aspects of me or you or all of us or something other. I think each song or each melody is different, and I do believe that we all have our own. I think we have multiple, you know, kind of songs, but I feel like we do have our own kind of melody, and you know, we can really push into that space if we want to, and try and uncover what that might be, you know, what our kind of instrument is, and how that's going to, you know, add to this beautiful harmony of the symphony of creation. And you know,
Yes,
it's all a harmonization. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the dreams and the ceremonies from which this arose that you kind of pointed to a little earlier. I'm very curious, especially around the dream.
Yeah, well, I think one track which would be a nice follow up, I think, a lot brighter, was I was going through a very intense, I guess, phase of doing some of these songs, and a lot of plant medicine ceremony and a lot of healing. So I was very, very much in this flow state of being, I guess, quite present to myself and my emotions and my expression. So I noticed that my dream states were just getting really vivid and quite musing, really. I'd always come up with, there'd be some message through my dreams, or you know, something important that felt really relevant to the time. And this particular, I remember I had this dream, and I was just transported to, like, you know, the peaks of the Himalayas, and just slowly this beautiful heavenly music was just like coming in on this gentle kind of crescendo. And one of my good friends was sitting on this little peak of the mountain with a harmonium and just this like radiant golden light coming from him, and just this song just filled the space. It was just like this really transcendent and quite a trippy kind of dream, because I was just transported to this like weird dimension with my friend, just like banging out this heavenly tune, and it just felt so beautiful and innocent and pure. Just the whole scene and the feeling and the music. And I was lucky enough to kind of wake up within the dream and quickly get the melody down. So I think I spent like the next 3 hours awake just frantically trying to get, and it's a really simple song, but like I had to, like, you know, get everything as close as I could, you know, to what I was kind of feeling. And that was the thing. Like, this is probably the quickest song to write, maybe the most kind of like polished, but but it just flowed so easily because it had written itself, you know, like it came from this dream. It felt really powerful. It felt really magical. So it's like I don't feel like I wrote this, you know, like once again, there's no like ownership of this track, and because I didn't really know where to place it, because it was such an odd one that kind of just intersected in that space of you know, I guess astral dreaming. I decided that I'd put it right in the center of the album, like that's where it fit, because it was like a bridge between the worlds of this reality and the other stuff, you know, I guess the more shadowy and darker aspects of the album. So it kind of, I think it's a beautiful bridge between the beginning of the album, which opens up a little more kind of gentle and light and starts walking you down the line into the realms of the dark night of the soul, which is the back half of the album. So I've called it's got a, I didn't have a name for it, so I'm like, well, it's like an intermission. It's a bit of a kind of, you know, breather track. So I've called it the interdimensional mission, the intermission of the interdimensional. So yeah, I'd love to share this because it's a really, yeah, it's one of my happy places. So